Good evening, everyone. 20 years, that makes me old. I'm definitely no longer under 20, that's for sure. I wanted to talk quickly about sort of my biggest F-ups over the last 7 years. I always find it really interesting to hear the sort of unvarnished truth about what happens in a startup and give you a sense of some of the things that we've got right and, more importantly, some of the things that we've gotten wrong. And hopefully that'll inspire you on your next venture. So quickly about Wave, we make software for micro, small businesses. Most people aren't aware 95% of all businesses in North America are under 9 employees. And we're trying to give them tools that they can actually use, invoicing, accounting, payroll, all those kinds of things. We've signed up about 2.3 million businesses across North America. We're a team of about 150, and we've raised about $60 million of capital. So one of the interesting things in today's day and age is that all of us have access to a tremendous amount of information through blog posts, Medium, all of that kind of stuff. And the interesting thing is that because we all only want to read about 250 words, everybody has to summarize things to, bite-sized chunks. So take, Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. He says on there, very importantly, make sure you've got the right people on the bus. If you've got the wrong person, get them off as quickly as possible. And while that is a very good nugget of information, it's in practice much more difficult to understand whether or not that person is good, mediocre, not so good, especially in a growing and scaling startup where the people that got you to where you are today might not be the people that get you forward. And so through all of this, we all have access to tremendous amount of insight and information, but it's what we take from it that is the most important. And I want to give you a couple of examples of that. One of the things that I've learned and quite frankly wasn't all that good at was about giving candid, honest feedback in a way that made sense. Most of us as Canadians are very polite. We typically do what we would call the sandwich approach to giving feedback. On the top is, it's really nice to see you, you're doing such a great job, all that kind of stuff. In the middle is where you get real about what you actually invited them in to say. And then at the end, you finish it off and gloss it with a nice, everything will be fine, it will be good, et cetera, et cetera. And the bottom line is that it doesn't do yourself or the other person any good. Candid feedback is hard to give. It's actually easier to receive than the sandwich approach. And I'll tell you a quick story. I was mentoring a Next 36 team, and I told them at the beginning, they're all incredibly intelligent 20, 21-year-olds. And I told them at the beginning, the most important thing that you're going to do is be candid with one another. And they were all like, yes, absolutely, that's great advice. And the team ended up not working and disbanding after a couple of months. And I asked them, what happened? And they said, that candid thing, we actually never did it. None of us really liked the idea. We didn't like our teammates, all that kind of stuff. And so it didn't work. And so the most important lesson that I've learned over the last little while is to be candid with yourself and with others. The second is around VC boards. I can tell you that if I had to do it over again, the Diana approach of owning almost all of your equity would be a really good thing. But if you're choosing to go down this VC path, you're going to end up with VC board members. And for the most part, our board has been spectacular. They've been very supportive, both in terms of financial resources as well as information, insights, intros, all those kinds of things. But there are two things about VC boards that you need to keep in mind. Number one, we all read and think that these VCs are rock stars, and a bunch of them have made a tremendous amount of money and have picked winners. But the bottom line is they sit on between usually 6 to 10 boards at the same time as trying to find the next investment and the one after that. So they're meeting with 500 to 1,000 entrepreneurs a year on average. And so they don't know a lot about your business on a day-to-day basis. And so taking advice from them without filtering it yourself is very dangerous, number one. And number two, what's interesting about them sitting on your board is oftentimes when you go to do the next round, you need to market to them about why they should invest again. And so there's this very odd dynamic between them having a fiduciary responsibility to be on your board and give you candid advice, and also you having to market to them to get participation into your next round. Those two things are really important to know as you take on capital from venture capital firms. The third is about orphaned products. This is our receipt app. It came out in early 2013. We were super excited about it. We spent all sorts of time launching it, thinking about it, all that kind of stuff. Then things went wrong in the company, and we needed to find ways to drive additional revenue. And so we moved that team off of that product and onto our revenue-generating products. And we've ended up with this orphaned product that we've yet to put as many resources into as we should. And I tell you this in full candor because it's important to think about, as you are launching new products, both how it feels at the particular time and the resources necessary to get it to market, but also then to ensure that you support it over time. And the last one is about me personally. There's a lot in our culture out there today about, getting better at your weaknesses. And I've found that this advice holds, the most true, which is focus on your strengths. I have very few strengths, but the ones that I do, I focus on now almost all the time. And they are where I can add unique value to the company moving forward. Focusing on your weaknesses is oftentimes a waste of time. You're never going to get as good, especially as you're scaling, as the people that you can hire and surround yourself with. Focus on your strengths. That's where you're going to add the most value. Last plug, we're hiring a lot. There's the link. Thank you.
Questions?
Stand up. Okay. How soon do you dismiss an idea? Because you're in the business for 20 years, so how much time do you really spend on it?
Got to bring up that 20 years thing again? Can we not leave that aside? Sorry. In general, how quickly do I dismiss an idea? I don't know. It's situation specific, I guess. Some I've held on to for far too long, and other ones I got rid of quickly. I think we're getting better as a company about testing and iterating and being comfortable throwing away ideas. But it's more challenging than the blog posts make it out to be. Because oftentimes there's a lot of people who have put in a lot of effort. You've got a true belief that it can work. The difference between iterating to get it to success or abandoning it is often a very gray line.
I'm a customer, so thank you. Great job.
Appreciate it.
Do you see Wave apps or Wave accounting go native to mobile at all? I know it's a web app and it works great, but do you see it going mobile?
Yeah, so we have a couple of mobile apps out now. The Invoice app specifically has been recently rewritten, and yes, I mean, again, I think the fact that we're a little bit late to mobile in general, and it's just a matter of priorities. Certainly, we understand the power and the need, and you'll see a lot from us in 2017 in that front.
Thank you. My name is Lungile. Actually, I wanted to ask you more on the idea of ORPHANED services product. From a startup point of view, when will it be a good time to start product service categorization? By that I mean when you have an idea, keep it within for maybe later review to bring it back into your business offering.
I'll be honest with you, I don't understand the question. Sorry, I apologize.
Okay, so let's say you were talking about the product ORPHANED, right, whereby you work on something and then you later leave it and never maybe use it for initial generation. How, as from the startup point of view, because there are limited resources that can work on the generating product or service, when is it, or is it a good idea to actually create the product categories whereby you keep the different ideas that are coming in before you dismiss them as not financially generating?
Yeah, I think it's very situation specific. So I'll tell you about the Receipts app as an example. We find heavy, it creates a lot of users for us. The top of funnel is significant. For our best accounting users, they use it a lot. And so for us, we need to get it right, and it's core to our future belief around where the product should go. So it's obvious for us that we want to keep it. I think in general, it's always situation specific about where you are, what product you're talking about, what ultimately you're looking for success to look like with that product, and then make a determination from there.
Thank you.